not everything has to be exposed all at once, everything, everywhere, all at once. It doesn't have to be.
I agree.
Another good point that movie made is you're living this life right now. So enjoy this one.
Enjoy this one.
Yes. There's no reason for me to explain to, my future children who will not be in certain environments how to cook crack rock or, you know what I'm saying? Like how to make money off of selling heroin. There's no reason.
It's no.
For me to expose them to absolutely everything that they might have an interest in just because they might have an interest in it. Hello and welcome back to the Expression of Love podcast. It is your host, Soul Expression. I am so very glad that you are back with me for episode 7. In this episode, I get to speak with Vanity Constance, very good friend of mine. Vanity is an innovative professional with 9+ years of diverse experience in neighborhood development, business management, local politics, project management, and program creation. As someone who is very passionate about her involvement in the community, Vanity has produced, collaborated, and advocated for dozens of grassroots initiatives throughout her years. Most recently, she is focusing on her arts organization called Local Street Art Group, which is dedicated to increasing economic mobility and opportunities for creatives, providing school programs, and creating vibrant art installations, projects, and events. Vanity is known as a beacon of uplifting energy that enjoys celebrating others through her everyday life and social media presence. With many leadership titles and affiliations with remarkable organizations, Vanity hopes to inspire others to take risks, learn new things, and to jam to the beat of their own drum. In this conversation that we have, we get to talk about a lot of things, starting with our likes and like highlights from watching the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think that's what it's called, which was a super duper great movie. I suggest that this is not a paid sponsorship, suggest that you watch it. But we talk about that. We talk about relationships and love and how sometimes seeing the good in others can blind you to what doesn't resonate with you in others. We talk about some of the changes that are happening with postmodernistic ideals being highlighted in our schools. And we go into all different types of topics. So I hope you really enjoy our conversation, and I will see you guys in the next one. Check it out. Awesome. 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome back, wonderful world. It is your host, Soul Expression. Welcome back to the Expression of Love podcast. I am sitting here with none other than Vanity Constance. Vanity is super duper cool. I can't wait for you all to meet her and hear how we exchange energy on certain topics. We're going to talk about a lot of fun things here. In fact, the first thing I usually start with, can you tell people about yourself? But the first thing I want to start with today for this one, since I'm already your friend and, is we left off not being able to talk about everything, everywhere, all at once.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
And we didn't get to talk about it because I hadn't seen it yet. But now that is different. I have, in fact, seen it. It is definitely a top tier cinema, if you will.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Great things that I think and feel about the movie, especially pertaining to the underarching message, which is nothing matters. Nothing matters. Nothing matters. And in fact, when expressing, love with somebody, especially romantic love, you feel that. You feel like, as long as I'm with you, what Lauryn Hill say? Nothing.
Nothing even matters at all, right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's just start there, man. Like what so I don't remember oh, you talked about the rocks. Like what were some things that you pulled from the movie, and let's get into this movie review, if you will.
Oh, I love it. I'm so here for it. So, and once again, thank you so much for having me on as well. Like, I think this is just a privilege, and I'm so grateful. So thank you. And so, yeah, I'm so grateful that you dive into the movie, because I was so excited for you to see it, because I'm like, just because of just who you are, your knowledge, your wisdom, and just your intellect. So, and from that movie, I gathered so much intellectual, just nuggets and great little bullet points to talk about. So one of the things that I pulled from it is that it was a mother-daughter duo, right?
Right.
And it reverenced like a lot when it came to like the purity of how she felt so alone, her loneliness, it's like the different degrees of like her feeling like not being heard, her feeling like she wasn't loved. It really stemmed from that.
The
Her
daughter?
journey. Just say it again.
The daughter?
Yes, the daughter. Yes. And I forgot their names. I've seen the movie like 3 times. I should know. But she actually
too. They don't say them that well. They do say the daughter's name a couple times, but I forget too. I don't know.
Yeah, but I know it's like we know the characters and we know like the scenes and what we pulled from it, but it's like their names weren't clicking, like it wasn't grasping for me. I don't know.
Right. We got the mom, the husband, the daughter,
yes,
the grandpa, right?
Yeah.
The daughter's girlfriend. That's pretty much it. And then there's
it's so true. Yes, that's it.
Counterparts and shit.
But they were like, weren't as the main. But yeah, I liked how it's just like it really shows how like going within, how she was searching. She searched through the whole entire galaxy. She was searching for that emptiness. She was searching. She was going. She changed her look. She changed the way she did things, yet she still felt empty inside. So I just really wanted to hear your feedback about that. Like, she traveled the galaxies looking for love. So,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She was looking for, and not, I wouldn't say not just love, like just looking for love, because love, she wasn't lost on love, right? She wasn't in an environment that was loveless.
Yeah.
There are plenty of movies where the main character grows up in a loveless environment. She wasn't in that. She was looking for unconditional acceptance. That's how I would word it. Yeah. Because her mother loved her plenty, right? I mean, the whole movie is an expression of the mom's need to figure out how to get across that, no, I do love you for who you are without condition. But she wanted to feel accepted and heard and believed in and like believed when she said things, and not to be so criticized. And, why does it matter that I have a tattoo? Why does it matter that I like girls? Why does it matter that such and such? So yeah, no, I think that was very beautifully depicted. I definitely like, because, a lot of the movie's been out for a while now. So a lot of people have gotten to review it and critique it. And they say that they did a good job, if you will, on depicting like the traditional Eastern household values between generations, and like first generation born here in the States and growing up in this day and age with Instagram and the internet and stuff like that, right? I don't know, but and just how that need for acceptance was depicted, and their conversation at the end where they're at the car, right? She already busted the window, and they're at the car, and she's like, it was cool because right when you thought that the mom was maybe going back into her old ways of being critical, when she was like, well, wait a minute. First of all, you are eating too much. You are getting fat. You are you do have a tattoo. You know how I feel about that shit. You know, you're doing certain things that just don't rock with me. And you have to acknowledge that too. If I'm going to acknowledge my shit, your shit stinks, little homie, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And right then it was when she told the dad, she said, hold on, let her finish.
Mm.
Just that right there was big for me. Cause I was like, okay, she's not, you know, she's willing to be held accountable.
Mm.
You know, she's screaming for acceptance, but she's also like, I mean, I know I'm not perfect. I'm not going to paint you, mom. I'm not going to paint my mom to just be a monster. That's just, but you know, I can't, you know, all these hormones, I'm going to puberty, all these things. I can't take all of this critiquing all the time. And she's always busy, and there's more, but I don't know. Let's ask some more questions.
No, that's so true. No, there's more. It's even reflecting on the mom, soul, like reflecting on the mom and how it showed how, remember all the variants that she was going through. And Juan, her husband's name was Juan. I do remember that. Juan said, you know, he's crossed all the galaxies, but you were the one that wasn't good at anything. And that's why he was able to connect with her. So him saying that, and her going through her life, never feeling of value, like the mom never felt valued. The mom felt like she was constantly struggling and just surviving. Like she didn't feel like she was living the life that she was supposed to fulfill, you know, because she had family. So that reflected in her relationships around her, you know, because she felt like she had to give up her entire life, you know. So like what did you feel about that too? Like
that's very, yeah, that's cool. I didn't think about that parallel or, you know, that part where actually, yeah, like even the mom, the other main character, she wasn't being supported. Like
she wasn't,
her universe's Juan was also kind of a nobody. You know what I'm saying? He just was in love with her, and that was it. Yeah, that was good enough for him.
He was okay with that. He was putting little eyes on stuff. Yeah.
He said, nigga, I ain't nobody. What? So
I got my wife, I got my daughter. Like,
yeah, like,
yeah.
And she felt like she had to handle everything. And because of that, she didn't get to exercise her talents that she kind of born with in every universe, right? She has a natural talent for the martial arts. She has a natural talent for making things. She has a natural talent for cleanliness and being a good example, I guess, of a human being and stuff like that. But none of that got to be expressed because she's taking care of the laundromat. She's taking care of the family. She's trying to be a good mom and, you know, support her daughter when her dad is not going to approve of her daughter's lifestyle, and she wants to balance that. So yeah, she's not being supported as well. And so, yeah, that's kind of like a parallel. Like the reason I'm so hard on you isn't because I don't accept you, it's because the world that I live in doesn't accept me. And I want to prepare you for that on one hand. And then on the other hand, there are some things that but I also draw the line here on these couple things, you know, and that's completely fine. And I think the movie is trying to tell us when your parents do that, it's not that they don't love you. If you like the stuff that's on the other side of the line, they still love you just the same.
They love you just the same. That's so true. That's so true. Oh my goodness, that's so true. And I have another question for you because I wanted to ask this, you know, previously. Another question too. It was notice how in all of the lifespans, right? Notice how she still was connected to her husband. Like that was her person. Like, What do you feel about that?
I think, well, so in the one life where she's wearing the pink dress and she has the riches,
oh yes.
They're on a date, but they're not together.
Yes, you're right. They're like, you're right. Yeah, you're right. And
how they reflected, it was like, you know, what if you ran away with me back then? So they reconnected. He's super successful. She's super successful. And they're like on this date, but they're not together as a couple.
You're right.
And he, he goes in, he says, you probably thought I was weak. You probably thought I was, not of value. You probably didn't think much of me back then.
Mm.
But I know what value really is. And I'll just put it like this. How I feel about you, or how I felt about you, because this is their universe where they're not together. How I felt about you, I would definitely have loved to do taxes and run a laundromat and be boring if it was with you.
He did say that, so that's so interesting how that did actually happen,
Right?
in another universe. But yeah,
But but they always come together. She was the leader of the multi-dimensional soldiers to her daughter, to her daughter's evil doings. I think that's also really cool. And the thing is, right? The thing is, it points to an interesting take on the concept of the soul, right? That when you come into so usually we say when you come into the world, meaning Earth, but let's expand it a little bit and say when you come into the multiverse, all of the things that are happening, when you come in, there may be some predetermined destinations that no matter what you do, no matter how dangerous it gets, you're going to experience this, and this from different perspectives, right? Different universes. You have experienced it in a different body or with a different mind or with a different upbringing. But these it kind of points to that. A lot of people in the spiritual circles, they call it like your soul contract or some sort of contractual agreement that's between you and the source of all things, where you are in the process of becoming one with the source of all things. For this lifetime, you're going to experience like these predestined things, and then everything that's in the middle is kind of your choice or determined by your choices, or I don't know how to word it, but that sort of argument or that take on things, it kind of it puts that into a perspective that's easy to digest. It's like all of these different universes, she's going to experience falling in love with this one guy, and she's also going to experience this kind of relationship with her future daughter, and she's also going to experience some sort of struggle with this one white lady that has white hair, something.
And they were in a relationship, remember, in the one world, like
they were in a relationship with the. I could stand looking at that universe, but it was great. Just the thing, it was like, ugh.
It was, it made me feel. It was so many things I didn't want to see that. So
they were like squirting mustard.
Yes,
Too much.
It was a lot.
Okay, everybody. It is an exciting time. It is an exciting time right now. An exciting time indeed. It is officially time for the expression of rhyme, a new segment of my podcast where I will be interjecting a rap verse into the episode that focuses on one or more aspects of the conversation that my guests and I are engaging in. Make sure to comment your favorite line from this segment and like and subscribe if you haven't had the chance already. Let's get into today's verse for expression of rhyme. Check it out. Nothing even matters like that classic. Lauryn Hill D'Angelo was quite fantastic, and despite that tactic of some white man antics on the screen, the movie scenes gave the right man back his feeling of living the truth. Nothing short of aloof to the bullshit they spit in the booth. I'm scripting the proof. Lifting the voice from small enough to fit in the tooth to big enough to be taught to kids in the schools. Everything, everywhere, all at once. Wishing everyone, every day, all had lunch. I had a good feeling, and on that hunch, I wrote a little food for thought into this compact punch lines. I call them lunch lines because I cut to the front. I don't waste time, and I say what I want. Get straight to the point and tell it just like it is. Educate yourself and they just might insist that your mind is worth keeping when it all comes crashing. Don't fall into the bagel and give all your passion away, because hope is something that you don't want lacking, because nothing even matters, just like that classic say. Shout out to Vanity for today's conversation. It inspired the lyrics that I'm putting into rotation. So pass your favorite line around like it's a blunt and show them how we get down on the expression of love. Back to your regularly scheduled programming.
Yeah.
Hot dogs. Goodness gracious. Yeah. And like the worst food you could eat, right? I mean, you know, if you like hot dogs, please forgive me.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
The worst.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I loved it. Something I wanted to ask you about watching the movie was, you had asked me about it, but I wanted to hear like you explain it, because you didn't want to spoil it, but this was the thing that you kind of was most, I guess, passionate about when we first up, when you told me to watch the movie.
Yes.
When they first go to the rock scene, and then later when they come back to the rock scene and she's able to talk and she turns around with the googly eyes and stuff like that. The first time they go to the rocks, there's peace. And the mom is new to this whole being lost in every life ever. And she's like, well, this is pretty nice. And take a breath here, even though I'm a rock, and take a breath. Yeah. And then later, when she realizes the lesson of nothing matters in the positive sense, because there's the negative nothing matters, which is the bagel, and then there's the positive nothing matters, which is gratitude, I'll say. Just gratitude for being alive, nothing matters. And then there's the bagel, which is nothing matters because everything is empty and we're all going to die and we just suffer in between, that kind of negative. So what lit you up inside with the rocks scenes? And don't feel pressured to answer it in only a couple words. You can talk through it.
I'm just thinking like it just opened up. It's like they showed so many different parallel universes, right? And then for them to end up in that parallel universe together, they had time. They had all the time. It was like time didn't exist. Like everything you thought it was no Google Calendar, it was no car to come pick you up. It was no traffic. It was like you had to deal with yourself. And I feel like it just reminded me on why it's so important to spend time in nature and to just spend time alone, just spend time being nothing, being like, you know what, I'm gonna just sit here. Like I'm gonna feel what I feel, and that's okay. But like it was just so pure to me. It was so pure. And it just reminded me like sometimes you're not always going to agree with the people that you care about, but it's in those times where you use I feel statements, like I feel this. Like those kind of things are really, it's really pivotal. And I wish that we would have more conversations like that, because not every conversation is just going to be roses and cupcakes all the time. It's just more so like just having those, it was raw. It was so raw to me. It was real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they were like talking in text.
Yes.
They didn't have mouths.
Yes, it was at the bottom. I love that.
And they had that very real thing that happens like when you're actually texting or DMing somebody, where she said a cuss word and the mom was like, yo, watch your fucking mouth. And she was like, really? She was like, I'm joking.
I like that.
That was precious right there. That was hilarious and relatable.
It was so, that's what the movie, it was so relatable. And then remember the scene where the rock was falling, when she was trying to go into the donut, like that was just like, wow. So
Yeah, that was during the conversation at the car.
Yeah.
She was like right at that, basically it was like a depiction of right there being at the edge of sort of giving up and maybe even becoming suicidal. It kind of felt like at times for the daughter. And then being reeled back in to notice that under all of the extra, there is actually unconditional love here, and there always has been. And that reeled her back in. Yeah. Yeah, I loved it. I loved the movie. I'm glad you told me to, watch it now.
I was like, watch it.
That was amazing. Yeah, man. Okay, so now that that's sort of taken care of in a way, can you please tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you do? And you just got a new position. Shout out to you. What do you do? How do you do it? And how does it, relate to expressions of love? Because
expressions of love. I love that. First off, I love that. LOL. I love that. So what I do. So my name is Vanity Constance, right? Sanders. So what I do overall is project management. And the position you saw, so I'm managing one artist, and his name is Michael Crown. And
Michael Crown.
Yes. So the business card and stuff that you saw in the postcard, that's the artist I manage, and he does exterior and he does exterior and interior murals. He also does website development. He also helps people with podcasts like yourself. But yeah, he's a designer, and he loves to beautify our neighborhood, And ironically, I had met him 9 years prior in Atlanta, and then to find out that him and his fiance live in Tallahassee, it just kind of worked out. So that's one of the positions I do, is managing that one artist, just one. His name is Michael Crown. So aside from that, I also have an arts organization. It's a grassroots community organization called Local Street Art Group. So I'm all about beautifying our neighborhoods, hiring local creatives to do that, after school programming, and doing really amazing community events. So the community events that you see on my page or just see me doing is contractual work that I get hired to do with different organizations to make their ideas come to fruition. So if they're like, hey, I need a fundraiser, or hey, I need this event, or hey, I have, this coming up, or I have this grant. I really enjoy helping people find solutions for their business and for their nonprofit. But yeah, aside from that, I'm rebuilding and kind of restructuring my personal brand and what that means for me being on social networks and that sort. So I'm in between that. I kind of am doing a rebranding thing right now. So as far as for Vanity Constance, I'll have some more content and more things going on because I love being engaged and I love celebrating people. I really do love it because I know how it feels to be. That
was my next question. What do you love to do though? What's your passion?
Oh, yes. So the reason I do all this and a lot of my stuff is community-based is because I made a promise to myself that I'm going to celebrate others. I really enjoy making people feel flattered and beautiful and from the inside out. And I enjoy plugging people to existing resources. And that's what I love doing. I love figuring out solutions and having people smile from the events and being like, you know what, wow, I haven't seen my wife smile like that in years, so those kind of things it sparks my joy. Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And yeah, man, for those of y'all out there who don't know, I met Vanity in 2013, 2012, something like that. Yeah.
Years ago.
Yeah. I was home. Maybe it was 2014. It was 2014.
Okay.
And I was getting into Kaumba Academy as a camp counselor. And through that, I met this guy named Drew, who was the chess coach.
Yes.
And Drew invited me to some meeting in some, I don't know if I can call it a church, but some holy building.
Yes.
Some temple-like building in the middle of Wilmington. And in comes Vanity, and she has all of this passion for community and just being smiley and not in a superficial way though. Like it was very genuine, very warm. And yeah, since then, man, I've been, a fan. And I came to one of your Easter egg events, Easter for the kids that you were doing for the kids one time. And then, yeah, man, and then, I think after I was done with working with Kaumba, we kind of fell out of contact until we fell back into contact on Instagram. Just, I guess, being fans of each other's work. And so that was really cool. There's something else in there, but it's not for this podcast. I'll leave that one alone.
Okay.
You probably wouldn't even remember. It was so small. But yeah, man, big fan of Vanities, man. And I'm glad that you're here. So let's get into this thing here. You are what I would like to call a Scorpio's Scorpio.
Yeah.
Meaning you, how do I say this? You have a way of drawing people in, but staying in your own place. It's like a magic trick. Like you can draw people really, really close and they'll never touch. They'll never like really, really know, or even if they know, they don't know exactly what's up with Vanity inside of here. And so this episode, we're going to dive into what's inside of here a little bit.
Okay.
So when it comes to expressing love, and especially like romantic love, right? The traditional kind of love that people think of when they hear the word. Why does it feel like the people that have the most capacity for authentic love only attract unauthentic people, like into that world? Like it seems when I watch my Scorpio homies, especially the women, Scorpio women, and I talk with you and we become friends and we become cool, you guys have the most like deepest insight on what true love looks like and feels like and smells like and tastes like. But every time you all talk about someone that you let in, they weren't an authentic person. Why is that?
So I can say that for me, I see the beauty in people, and me seeing the beauty in people is really, I had to realize like, I'm really just seeing the best parts of me in them, and it's like not making excuses for people, like people's poor behavior. It stems from somewhere, right? And a lot of the times, super subconsciously, we take people under our wing being like, okay, well, we can kind of mold them, we can just, I'll deal with this for a little bit, like maybe if they're around me because I'm so loving, I can change them. Or, maybe my influence of how I love myself will rub off on them. Or if I teach them how to meditate, then they're going to love me, right? No. We got to stop taking in projects and start aligning ourselves and start being accountable for ourselves about, like, I can't cry wolf if I'm attracting, if I'm like attracting the wolves and making excuses for their behavior. So it's just like something where I had to really look in the mirror and be like, why is this reoccurring? Why is this happening? And I'm like, wow, it's because of me. So I feel like for scorpionic energy, it really deals with like, we understand it.
I like that term, scorpionic energy.
Yes, with scorpionic energy, we see what other people don't see. So me attracting a man that you guys will see as like, oh, whatever, I see the bravest heart. I see the most like strongest man. I see the strongest masculine health. I see a healthy masculine energy that he doesn't even see in himself. And I'm like, I remember this one person told me that they told me this years ago. They said, Vanity, you have to stop making these men into gods because they're not going to stay with you. Like they're not, like you can't build a man. He's going to leave you for somebody that's not building him,
Ooh. He's going to leave his mom for his girl, for his wife.
He's going to leave. Exactly. Like I can have the best intentions, but at the same time, those intentions, no, it's about like what's real. So I had to really do, a lot of, just within work, just talking to spending time with myself, dating myself, being okay with not dating at all. Like I've been okay with that, and recently, I started dating someone, LOL, but honestly, it's just like just being accountable because we see things people don't see.
You really, really, really do. Like Scorpio, the reason why y'all hold grudges like that, like a Scorpio, like only a Scorpio can, is because you get so it's like, how would you, like, they did you wrong, but you're not really mad at that. You're mad because by doing me wrong, they stepped so far out of their potential. And it's like,
what are you doing? What are you doing? And it's just like, you want to play me? Like, I think of it like you're challenging me when all I've done, right, was been kind and stuff. The opposite of that, I don't like it. Why do you want to bring out an opposite side of me, And it's just also not allowing people to bring that out of you. It's just like, no one can drive you crazy. I can only drive myself, So I'm like, I don't got energy for that.
And I mean, is that really, like, in terms of how you broke it down, seeing and believing in the potential that you can pick up on, that it's not that it's not really there and you're just making it up. It is really there in these people. Right?
It was there. It was there. It was evident.
Really there, for real.
It was there. It was.
It's not a delusion. It's not naivety. It's an observation and then an attraction to what I really do see. I believe that definitely plays a huge part. And do you think that it's in seeing and believing in that potential, you ignore where they're at right now? And by you, I am kind of making you speak for also other people who go through the same things. Mm-hmm. So, it should be fair.
Oh, you're fine. Listen.
But do you think that that's what y'all are doing? Like, do you think that that's what it boils down to, that you get a little too wrapped up in what could be, that you miss what is? And some of that?
I would say a lot of people can't take the Scorpio's intensity, right? And they run from love, but men, I don't know, it's something about masculine energy that comes back. Even if they're in something or they're engaged, married, I've had men come back being like, Vanity, I remember those conversations we had. I remember you taught me how to do that. I remember, like, it's like hindsight's 2020, where this one guy I used to date, he's just like, Vanity, I really looked up on you. Like, I wasn't ready for you. You know what I mean? So it's just like, we have these individuals that it's something I don't know, like, I've been through dramatic experiences, but I'm not the kind of person to keep doing stuff because I don't like drama. I hate feeling, I hate the heart. I hate feeling heartbroken when it comes to like another person, I don't like those kind of things. So it's just like one of those things where I like to really analyze, like, what do I really like about this person? Or is it more of, that's why I be asking for that birth chart too. I'll be like, what's up with you?
Right.
So,
what's under the surface?
Okay. But to answer your question too, I just feel like a lot of the times it just sometimes the intensity scares people away too. And it's not that they've never experienced anything like that, Like they've never.
I do that. That's actually, it's very interesting that you say that, because I think one of the reasons why I experienced a 3.5 going on, I think 4-year or so friend zone experience, which really hurt my feelings in a lot of ways, was because of the intensity that I brought to not necessarily only like building them up or putting them on a pedestal, but just the intensity of how genuine I am and how much I like them, like how much I really admire and adore them and like their company. I wasn't smothering in action, but I think just my aura, my energy, and my mind, and my talking, how I talk, intense. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's very interesting that that's what you ended up saying, is that I think, people shy away from in like realness almost, because like people claim a certain level of realness, you know what I'm saying? And they might admire and like realness, and they might be real on the inside.
Yes.
What they bring and what they allow and what they sort of allow themselves to hold space for is very superficial, surface level relationships. You know what I'm saying? Things that it's like the philosophy, I'd rather something horrible that I can control that basically won't, like, I'd rather have something bad that I can control than something potentially awesome and great that I have no control of. Because if I don't have the control of it, then it could be great and then it could leave me and I could be vulnerable to that heartache. But if it's horrible, but I have control of it, then I say when it's done. But then no, you don't, because now you're afraid to put that away. When when you grow up and you realize, okay, this is horrible. Now you're so comfortable, or maybe you got kids or whatever. It becomes complicated, and it's like you got to live a little. You got to step out on the plank to see that you got wings. With your hands tied, see that you got wings. So yeah, no, I definitely feel you on that. I remember somebody, I think I talked about it on a previous episode. Somebody told me one time, he said, so I like you too, but you're just somebody that people look for way later. It's like, that doesn't make sense. It makes sense to me now, but when I heard it, I was like, that doesn't make sense. And I'm not trying to argue with you, but that is bullshit. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make it make sense. No, I'm kidding.
People aren't, because realness creates change to me, right? And if I'm real, right, and we're real soul, right, we're gonna require everybody around us, right, to level up, because we're already solid where we are, right? So people be hating ass hoes because they be thinking like, how are they like this? Baby, I'm just being myself, and you can be yourself too. And I'm not challenging nobody. I want you to win, me to win, everybody else. So people be uncomfortable that we're so comfortable, and I don't care. Like, I really be like, I'll be by myself at the bar. I do not. So I feel like people don't like security because they're not secure in themselves, and they be watching like, oh, da, 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 da. But in reality, I wonder how many people really are in love with their soul that never admitted it, because they're just not weak, but like they're frequent, like they're just not, I don't know, like, what's the word I'm looking for?
They don't express it?
Yeah, they don't express it. They don't know how to express it, because they see us and they're like, they're so strong, but it's not like we're trying to be strong. It's just part of our DNA.
I'm just happy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm not even trying to be whatever strong you're talking about. I'm just
and it's fair, right? Because the world is a dangerous place.
Yeah.
Loss of love, like not necessarily just them dying, but just a breakup. It stings, and the pain lasts for a long time, and sometimes like. A parental divorce, or certain things from your childhood. Your favorite uncle passes away when you're young, and like teaches you never to get too close or never to really admit how you really feel about somebody or whatever. But some of it is just also like stubbornness with who you were attracted to. Like, you know, there's sometimes like I'm only about 5'8", right? Mm-hmm. There are a lot of women who I was attracted to that liked men taller than me, and it was a non-negotiable for them. And I could have been really stuck on, well, I'm just going to keep trying with this girl or with, like I could have got stuck somewhere trying with her until I just got so bitter that I just rather try to do, one of my things that I do, like music or something. And that would have been a really horrible decision, in my opinion, a really horrible decision, because she just was, into a different aesthetic, and it was non-negotiable. It was she was secure in something, right? And stuff like that. So there is some, I guess I say all this to say it is fair that there is a reluctance to be real about romantic feelings and to change your mind. Even there's a reluctance to changing your mind as to what you want, right? Because loss of love or some of these traps of being stubborn and stuff, they do hurt. They hurt. You know what I mean?
They do.
But I don't know, it's approaching that realization that real people will make you change, and they won't be trying to make you change. They're focused on changing themselves for the better, but they just don't have time for the same old negative energy over and over. So you will, if you want to be in their company, you will change something. I think that does scare people. And that's a very beautiful point that you made. It's got me in my thought bag.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I'm just thinking about what you said too. I'm just reflecting now too about just the different interactions I've had with different people, and I spend a lot of time mourning and grieving, that people don't know about, like when things didn't work, it takes a lot out of you. It's like I shared so much of myself, and it's like I always say, you can never take back the data you learn from people. Like, I don't want you to know all that about me. Like, I'm like, I didn't even have to get close, but at the same time, it's like I had to learn and also apply different concepts. So I'm not bitter. So I'm not holding on to what could have been, so.
Now, what's interesting, this is a little bit of a segue here. Yeah. What's interesting is there's a huge push in like the world of social media now, and stuff. There's a lot of online communities for healthy non-monogamy. Right? There's
non-monogamy.
There's a big, like, ever-growing, rapidly growing non-monogamous community. Not that it didn't exist, not that that was non-existent in America before, but with the advent of social media and I don't know how to say it, like it's growing at a rate that it was never growing before, even though it already existed.
Yes.
And there are some, like, I can't lie, there are some really good arguments in favor of healthy non-monogamy. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that as a nation, it should be like pushed on children's philosophies and stuff or anything like that. I think the nuclear family can use some improvements before we start to try and introduce a completely new paradigm as a whole nation. But at the same time, pulling your finances together, pulling your help around the house stuff together, and doing it in a way that does not negatively impact a child's capacity for just being a kid and growing up, and not introducing really weird questions too early for them to process, and that cause like identity crises and things. Because that's kind of a different conversation. But just doing so, like structuring life in a way that does not negatively impact your household, there are some good arguments for that. And one of them is rooted in economic empowerment, and specifically Black economic empowerment. Yes. If we came together on some love shit, you know what I'm saying? Not just some pseudo love, but it's really an economic decision type of shit, but things that can organically feel right, but without the judgment of this is just automatically wrong because it's not in the Bible or something like that, right? That kind of thinking where that judgment is absent and it feels right. And it's not all about the money. Then there are ways that we can start buying up land. We can start merging, business ventures in certain ways that the few, the oppressing entities that are out there have done for centuries. You feel what I'm saying? Although they did it more so solely on economics, and it was only economics and things, which is why, a lot of just for instance, and this is no shade to them, but a lot of the royal family is because of all the inbreeding, because they could only have babies with royal, they're disfigured. And there's a whole lot of pictures of British royal family members who grew up disfigured and stuff like that, because inbreeding or incest or whatever through generations leads to a lot of birth defects. Mm. So solely economic, no, that's not the way. Mm-hmm. And again, trying to just, okay, now this is what America does. That's also not the answer. It's too fast. The change has to. It's like a baby, right? There has to be a gestation period before a baby just comes out. You can't just come out day one, like conception, and now we out. But there are some arguments, man. That's actually, we are kind of separated from our family. You know what I'm saying? We do kind of, when we make it to a certain tax bracket, we do kind of go away from family, and that does negatively impact certain things, and that does lead to a feeling of isolation, and that does, stuff like that. And it's there are, tribes and villages and things on the East and in Africa and in different places and South America and things where it's not just polyamory and polygamy for the sake of greed and stuff like that. It's just, it organically forms, and there's no judgment, and the families stick together, and all the grandmas share their wisdom, and all the, you know what I'm saying? That.
It's real.
It's real. Mm. It's not on some kingdom and oppression and slavery type of shit. It's real. What do you think? What do you think about that? Even if you're just forming your opinion right now, what do you think about that?
I've thought about it, believe it or not. So I've had people that wanted me to be a part of their coven, I want to say, of polygamy and stuff. So I've never been polygamous when it comes to that. I want to say I was a sister wife and didn't know it when I was in my younger years dating this guy. But I can laugh about it now. It's not funny. But I'm going to say that when it comes to that, when it comes to looking at the value of family, I was just telling my siblings that if we really work together, if you care for your loved ones, if you care for people, that we should do more things for one another, even if we care for them. If I'm a carpenter and also somebody needs a bookshelf, let's make them a bookshelf. Let's let's get them a couch. You know, I have some items I'm not using, office supplies. I know somebody just, you know, has a new business. Donate those office supplies to that new business. You know, it's like being in that frequency where you are so giving and loving because you know that that's what community means. And that's why I love doing the community work, because it's just like, I know that if I have these certain skill sets to help my neighborhood, that's what I'm going to do, you know? Right. But it's like we have to all be on that frequency too. I find that a lot of people are in it for egotistical reasons, like you mentioned. But I see the value in it. I do. It comes from healthy, strong, masculine leadership, though. That is so needed because the feminine energy, you know, can be a little interesting when it comes to dealing with that. But high quality, you know, women and high quality men, I feel like that's a beautiful community. Like, I don't have anything. I feel like the older I've gotten more open to like, maybe I am poly. Maybe I just need a, you know, but honestly, I'm just like, honestly, it's just like one of those things where I see the value in it. Not sure if it's for me per se, but I see the value in it when it comes to a healthy foundation, a healthy structure, you know, a healthy place to homeschool the children, a healthy place, you know, to have that garden lot, a healthy, like I see where it can be like, oh, I don't like doing laundry, but you know, that person likes doing that. That's their thing, you know? So it's just like, if we work more together, then we would be less stressed. Because I was telling my sister, I said, we weren't meant to do everything alone. Like we're taught that we need to live by ourselves. You know, I need to live by myself to prove, I don't got to prove shit to nobody. I don't, you know, so it's just like, I admire other cultures, how you mentioned, I admire other cultures that stick together, that are in their late 20s, still living at home, that are in their 30s, living at, you know, I admire that. Like, they're going against what the societal rules, you know, so I admire it. And I want to say, as I'm seasoning, you know, it's warming up to me more and more, the value of it. Yeah.
Right. And it requires some learning too. It's not like, you know, because, I mean, I'm not going to lie. It's attractive. And so there's room for jumping in too fast.
Yes.
Right. There's room for that. So it requires some learning, requires some elders.
Yes.
That are about that life, that can
about that life. Exactly.
And the things that people fall into, and how certain villages and civilizations crumbled because of too much lust or too much just economy thinking, or too much you could almost say like too much freedom, but really it just means too much impulse. Not that you're not free, but you're not free to just be impulsive and compulsive about everything. That's not, you know, intelligence. Nature moves in a certain kind of obedience to the rest of nature, if that makes any sense at all. Like you look at plant life. Plant life is completely obedient to whatever is happening. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I like that you said that plant life is obedient to whatever is happening.
Yeah, like there's some Asian poems that talk about, like, I wish I was as obedient as this tree that I'm looking at, because it could be snowing, right? It could be, if it's raining, the tree is like, yes, thank you so much. If it's sunny, the tree is like, yes, thank you so much. If it's time for all the leaves to fall off for new growth and new reborn, tree might not feel, yes, thank you so much. But on the inside, something is very obedient to whatever is going on. And all of nature is like that, right? You look at like ants and anteaters and snakes and mongooses and cheetahs and just animals, and the animal kingdom is from a zoomed out perspective, not looking at the individual and saying, no, this one is an exception sometimes because it sometimes does this. That's a stupid argument. When you zoom out and you can look at sort of the animal kingdom or the plant kingdom, nature doing its thing, there is an obedience to sort of observe, touch, and stick your toe in the water.
Yes.
Fully experiment, and then understand. There's like this natural progression towards understanding that microwave culture and immediate gratification culture and cancel culture does not allow for.
Mm.
You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
One of the is I'm almost scared to bring it up. One of the things that I think is screaming that right there, the immediate gratification and the not taking time to really look at this that's happening in the world right now is what I think is an overdone push of trans lifestyle onto young children who are still developing self-identity.
Mm.
I think, and more so with the medical shit, with the hormones, the surgeries, the shit that puts a big check in somebody's pocket every time.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff, which kind of bleeds into what teachers are allowed to say, what, you know what I mean? Bus drivers and the people that have your children for hours and hours, 180 some days, however long a school year is, out the year, right? And all of these things, it's like, I think that is a representation of immediate gratification. You know, somebody had a feeling and they felt like their rights were not protected and they had influence and money and things. And so they said, well, I'm going to make that go away. I'm going to change the world and I'm going to make everybody accept how I feel. And that's never the answer. It's never the answer. You know what I'm saying?
So true.
It's like, it's the very reason why it would not be a good thing if all Black people came together in a militant, military kind of sense and just went after oppressive entities and took them all out and then didn't have no afterthought, no aftermath, no plan after that. It's not the answer to just make everybody accept how you feel and do something right now to make everything in the whole world conform to how you feel. That's not what life is about.
That's so say it again for people in the back. Everybody needs to, like, it's just, I'm so annoyed with like all that mainstream stuff. Like it's not the way. It's not the way. It's not the way. So
yeah, it's because it's there is compassion in me to see that, okay, certain things are ancient, right? Cross-dressing is ancient, and that's fine. Nobody cares, right? People love called drag shows. People love that shit. So nobody is attacking, I guess, and I don't want to name too much of it, but nobody's attacking your actual real feelings. And nobody's saying that when you feel a sensation that weighs on you in your body from people making you feel isolated, that you don't really suffer from that. Nobody is saying that your claims are not valid for how you feel.
That's so true. Like nobody's saying that, but it's just like nobody's saying that, yet it's like they portray that everyone is against them, but you don't have to recruit me to your bandwagon for you to live your life. And it doesn't mean influencing our children too, like how you mentioned, like self-identity is so important. And it's just, why are y'all trying to recruit the children and have it in the commercials and have it this and that? And the move, even Buzz Lightyear had, it was like the first kiss between two women or something. Yeah. But it's just like, but why are we even kissing in a Disney movie? Like, why are we?
Well, they kiss in all the Disney movies. I personally, with that, and I want to comment on that, on the Buzz Lightyear thing really quick. And if you had more, then
go ahead.
I'm not too mad about that one. I think that one was more aligned with kind of just inclusion kind of, because I didn't see the movie. I don't even know if it came out yet, but
the movie's out.
It's out. Okay. I haven't seen. Have you seen it?
No. So I started it. Okay. I haven't finished it. It's still on that website. It's on that website.
The kiss.
No, I didn't. So I saw the clip of the kiss. It was very innocent. Like I said, it was very like,
right.
Like, it was like, okay.
One kind of is kind of like whatever.
Yeah. But it wasn't like, Like they didn't over sexualize it or anything. No,
they didn't say, at least to my knowledge, again, I haven't seen the movie, but they didn't say that one of these women was born into the wrong body, which is the thing that I
yes, and that's important. Really that's important. That's important. Yes, it wasn't like they're trying to, recruit. I just was just like,
But I mean, you can't name a Disney movie without Lion King has kiss. They all kiss.
Oh yeah, the animals. Yeah, you.
All of them.
It was just. I just feel like it's just like this push. They just keep. It's like this constant push, where it's just like,
It makes small things like that bigger than they are.
Yeah, and it's just like the little things, But at the same time, it's like, yeah, but. The gays have been here since the ancient times. It's not a new thing. It's not like, it's not, since humans have existed, it's been, we've had that, so it's just so like, okay, I have a question for you, Soul. So because we've had, the gays and the lesbians since the beginning of time, right? Why do you think it's being so pushed now more than ever? Like, why do you think it's being so influenced in our social, like through everything, our mainstream? Because it's not a new thing, it's not a new thing, people having two moms or two dads. It's not new.
Right.
So, but why do you think it's so, like pushed nowadays?
A couple of things. One, again, when it comes to more so the trans community than the gay.
Oh, yes. That's different. Yeah.
There's a lot of money to be made.
Oh, yes.
By the pharmaceutical and the surgical entities. Okay. So like there's I think I heard a number that was like over $1 million per person. And then in terms of the hormone meds and stuff like that, which you have to take for the rest of your life, but maybe not per person, but like tens of millions. Easy.
I can only imagine. There's a lot.
So just in terms of like that, where there's certain weird things being introduced to the school environment and how young people are when they start talking about, well, what are your preferred pronouns and things like that, where the kid they don't give a damn, like, that kind of thing. There's a lot of money over there. And I think that is a part of it. I also think there is some truth in the fact that some people feel like, and they don't have a good avenue to express this feeling, that they were sort of born in the wrong body. But I don't think that means you should go around like asking people, well, have you been born in the wrong body? Have you been born in the wrong body? Who have not developed their brain yet.
Yes.
Right? Who have not settled into something like, I think there is some truth in feeling like that, but that doesn't mean that God or whatever has made a mistake, right? It's the source of all things, wherever you come from, right? Atheist, wherever you come from. It doesn't mean that the source of your creation, even if it's just your mom and dad, has made a mistake. And I don't think that it means that there are so many other people who are too scared to say anything about this, that haven't expressed themselves, need to be heard and have their, and their rights are not protected. And I don't think it's that. I feel like that is just bullshit to a degree. Now, that aside, with the pushing of more so like the queer, I will call it, to include everybody, the imagery and the like the movies and things. I think that there is, well, first of all, Hollywood is very gay.
Oh, Hollywood. I mean, that's Hollywood. You're right.
That hasn't been a secret for decades. That a lot of producers, directors, actors, executives
Yes.
over there in Hollywood that
Yes.
make the movies, right,
Yes.
are in fact gay or bisexual,
Mm-hmm.
right? And and there's a lot of money over there. And so when you have a whole lot of money and a whole lot of sex drive and a whole, there's a lot of weird sexual practices that go on in Hollywood. And then there's the whole shadow side of it with the pedophilias and yada, 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 with both the music and the movie industry and the TV show industry. But I think the push is twofold. And I'm sorry I'm taking so long to get to it, but I want everybody to really understand that I'm thinking about this. I'm not concluding about this. You feel what I'm saying? Like,
no, I definitely understand. It's very layered too. It's very layered.
It's very layered. And I'm definitely an ally to my queer brethren and sistren.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, I think the push in Hollywood is partially because, it's finally kind of acceptable. And there's like this springboard from people that are gay and are lesbian and are bisexual and whatever. They're able to produce movies and include these things. And so they're just writing away on these screenplays.
You're right, because they're the ones that are writing it. You're right, because they're the ones that are doing it. So
I think that's part of it. And then I also think that there is a need for the oppressive entities. I like that. I came up with that during this podcast too. So, but I'm gonna keep calling them that during this episode. There's a need for the oppressive entities to keep separating human beings so that we keep not knowing that if we come together, we can make real positive change a possibility. And so there's a way that if you just give little droplets of exposure and you keep pushing it on kids and you keep doing it, then you separate the kids from each other, you separate the kids from the parents, you separate the adults from each other and communities, and you keep creating separate things so that you can control this one and control this one and control this one and control this one and control this one, because it's much harder to just control everybody. Divide and conquer, I think, is also a part of it. But I also, like I said, I think the screenwriters, it's just a whole lot of gay and lesbian screenwriters. And so they want to include.
That's what it is. And they're just talking about themselves. You're right. I mean, because I'm also like, I'm not against, I don't want nobody thinking that I'm like anti, like, no, I'm not.
Allies, man. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not anti, my queer, like we said, brothers and sisters, right? I'm not saying that, y'all. But it's just, I just wanted to, hear Soul's insight, about going just more in depth about it, because these are it's just a conversation, So I'm not being like, I'm curious. As someone that's looking at society, I'm like, interesting. Okay, and it's new. I guess every generation is new. Like this new generation coming up, like they're going to be so inclusive and so like they're so different. Like even my siblings are younger than me. Like they're just different. Like they're just. I'm like.
What have you heard?
Just so much the way they interact, the way they talk to each other.
Yeah, like what do they say? Like what's
the way they are. Like it's very typical in a conversation. It's just like social cues. Like I'm noticing I have to be more instructional when it comes to teaching them social cues. Knowing also like different things when it comes to just different like phone etiquette. When they're done with the conversation, like they zone out very quickly because they're used to videos and scrolling. So it's like you have to be extremely kind of entertaining and very hands-on with them, or else their attention spans are like, okay, I can learn this on YouTube. I don't have to listen to you. Like I'm like, okay. But it's not a bad thing. It's just like
it's low-key true. I mean,
it's not. But that's the thing. That's what I said. Like they're teaching us stuff too. Like So it's just more so like, I like they're more direct. They're more about including everyone in things. They're not teasing someone because they're looking different. It's more like, hey, let's protect that person from being bullied, So I think that the bully programs, different things have been effective because people are standing up more when it comes to different stuff. I like that a lot.
That's what's up.
I really like that. Like they actually are like, oh, that person's different. That's okay. That's okay. Like, so I like that. but they're just different. Some people call them rude for how they talk, but I'll be like, they just being direct, and they ain't scared of y'all. Like because you're older, I'm like, just because we're older, like they look at us like, okay, and so it just means, oh yeah, they be like, okay, and I'll record you, snap it at me, and I'll post it up on TikTok.
Well,
so, but you know what I mean? Like they just be, I'll be like, oh my goodness. So
because yeah, I mean, there is a line, you know what I'm saying? Like I'll smash your phone right now.
Yeah, but they really be like that, like thinking that recording you is going to be, you know, something.
I flashed over to my little cousins and nieces and nephews, and I was like, nah, well, you know, no, if I'm snapping, you're gonna have to listen, you know, because I'm not gonna hurt you or bring you down with my words, but you know, anyway, thank you for that. That was you know, sometimes and there's just like you, like I love very hard, and I try to love everybody. I don't love everybody. I try to love everybody.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to say things that will set me up for a soundbite that will go through. Like, let's say this podcast blows up, right? I don't want to say things in a way that's like, you know, oh, another hater. And then
I'm saying it's from a curious mindset. Like I'm curious about it because I'm not in those communities. So me talking about it is from a straight woman's point of view, which if I'm ignorant to something, let's have a conversation about it. Like don't cancel me. But if I don't know something or if I said something that sounded a little off, then let's talk about it. Like maybe, you know, if it was sounding a little insensitive, you know what? Let's figure out, you know, let's figure out like a way we can effectively, you know, talk about it. But yeah, I just feel like I'm just so curious about things. I'll be like, wow, interesting, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely, I mean, I'm not going to front, you know, and I'm going to bring this into it as well because it's the Expression of Love podcast, right? And when thinking about expressing love, especially romantic love, we also got to think about the next generation that's coming up, as we were just talking about. And there are certain things that I just definitely will not be exposing my own unborn children to when they are here. You feel what I'm saying? I won't until, right? It's just like not everything has to be exposed all at once. Everything, everywhere, all at once. It doesn't have to be.
I agree.
You know, another good point that movie made is you're living this life right now. So enjoy this one.
Enjoy this one. Yes.
There's no reason for me to explain to, you know, my future children who will not be in certain environments how to cook crack rock or, you know what I'm saying, like how to make money off of selling heroin. There's no reason. It's no to expose them to absolutely everything that they might have an interest in just because they might have an interest in it.
Yes.
You feel what I'm saying? And I think that with the because it's getting pretty out of hand in certain regards. And this is the part of that I guess most scares me about sharing. There are certain things, like I heard that there are closets in certain schools where teachers who are like trans activists at heart, and a part of this kind of whole circle of exposing young children to the idea. Some of them have closets that have clothes in them that are stereotypically girl clothes or stereotypically boy clothes or both or whatever.
Yeah.
And without telling the parent, kids will come in, go to their homeroom class and change their clothes, and the parent does not know at all. That is out of hand.
Yeah.
That is, and why are we not telling them? Like, if it's just about inclusion, why are we not involving parents? Why is there this secret energy about the whole thing?
And that kind of stuff is just like, you're influencing and introducing to an innocent, pure child, different things. So when they get home, it's just like, oh, we play dress up at school, right? Oh, okay, you play dress up at school. And it's just like, I can see how that could cause like a lot of conversation, a lot of issues at home, And it's like, if it's so innocent, then why aren't parents involved? If it's so innocent, then why aren't, then why not tell the parents like, hey, we're going to be, if it's only dress up, if it's only dress up, then why not tell the parents like, hey, we have these closets of clothes where, your children are able to change
school clothes. And they're dressing like the opposite.
But that needs to be
stereotypically the opposite gender. I don't know which one to use.
Gender, I know. I feel you on that.
The stereo, like a boy will come in and what's interesting when you really start to dig into this, more girls are affected because of a lot of reasons. And so like they'll come in as a girl or whatever, they'll come in stereotypically dressed as a girl and change their clothes and go through the school the whole day with their preferred pronouns and their cross-dressing, and then at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, they're back to whatever. Why is it? This is not so small, like playing dress up in homeroom. This is not small.
But they're trying to brush it off like, they're just dressing up.
No, like this is different.
But they're trying to make it, weird. It is weird. It's like there has to be like what alternative agenda is there? Because to me, it sounds like anything that can't be, if you can't transparently communicate it with me, then you're being sneaky. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I don't like that sneaky behavior. And, parents are already trusting their children going to these public schools already. So it's just like one of those things where like, what you teach inside your home is so important, and I just wish that more parents, I know everybody's just trying to survive, and parents sometimes don't have, the energy to actually like pour into their child. All they're trying to make sure is that their child eats, their child has a roof over their head. And I get that. So it's just like one of those things where like, we need more activators, more folks like us in the schools when it comes to these programs, when it comes to these just doing things, just to be that extra influence. And y'all will influence that shit,
Here's something that complicates that.
Yeah.
When it comes to free thinkers like you, like me, and introducing us into the school environment.
Yeah.
We get introduced to the school environment before day one. We have to sign papers that basically say, here's what's allowed, here's what's not allowed. And there will be social things that's like, and when I say people are being criminalized for not going with this, you use the word agenda, and I'll use that word too, agenda of introducing identity crisis to children who were not thinking about it otherwise. That makes it complicated, because what am I going to do? Am I going to go in there and basically just not really pay attention to it until I'm being questioned by police? Why are you? Because there are people in jail. I know there's a documentary that recently came out by Matt Walsh, I think his name is, and it's called "What is a Woman?" And he talks to somebody in this documentary that has been locked up, okay, for using the biological pronouns of his own daughter because she wanted to be called something else. They treated it like kind of like a hate crime.
This is getting out. It's a
weird.
No, I don't. It was something I reposted on TikTok. I actually want to get the video from my page and I will share it with you, right? And I got a lot of comments on it, and a lot of people thought I was being homophobic, whatever. Some people did, some people didn't. I was like, I don't care. So it was a comment where this doctor, this doctor was talking to, I believe this individual was trans, you know? So I'll call her she, right? She was mentioning that she likes being called she, right? She and her. He told her that his pronouns are handsome and wealthy or whatever, right? It was something example like that. And you have to use handsome and wealthy every time you talk about me, because that's what, you know what I mean? Like if you're saying I have to call you that.
That's a clip from this movie. I think that's.
Oh, okay. So it's like an interview thing, right?
I want to ask you, he was wearing glasses, right? And he said, so if I said that, well, my pronouns are handsome and wealthy.
Yes. It was, and then the person that was sitting there was identifying, right, as a trans, right?
Yeah. Was it Dr.
Okay.
Bill?
It wasn't like an interview. Like the clip I have is like an interview. You know what I mean? It's like an interview. It was on some show. You know what I mean? And I reposted it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is like I'm agreeing with you where it's just like, you know what I mean? I get what you're saying. Like it's getting to the point where the fact her own dad got criminalized. Like where's the boundaries? Like where?
Oh yeah, like why it's a little much.
That's a little over. I mean, that's more than overboard. Like I'm like, we're getting to the point where people are so PC and everybody's so sensitive where you can't even formulate your own thoughts without somebody trying to cancel you. You know what I mean? Like, oh my goodness. Like, so I just feel like it's just so much going on in this world, Soul, and you got to remain solid and practice those things.
Right. Like you said, it's layered.
It's so layered. It's so layered.
Because just like everything, especially with this country, but really worldwide, like just like everything else, the people at the bottom who are just kind of going along with the narrative and just want to be included are not the problem. They're the loudest.
I agree with that.
They're not the issue. The people that see dollar signs are often where the problem is.
I agree with that 110%. It's not that, I agree with that 110%. That's it right there, because it's no problem when everybody's minding their business and living life. It's no problem. Like it's been around it's been here since the beginning of time. So who am I to say anything about it? All I'm saying is that like this agenda shit, this is where it gets like, where it's like, we need healthy boundaries, you know, and when you're crossing, there is lines that are crossed. There are lines that have been crossed. So it's just like, we can't sit there and ignore it. Like the lines haven't, you know, so.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. You know what? I really want to, hold on. I want to see if, oh wait, I didn't share the sound. Is this what you're talking about?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You want to appropriate womanhood.
This is it.
This is on Dr.
All right, guys, welcome back for this one. We check.
Oh, well,
this is it.
I don't know who this guy is, but yeah.
That's the interview.
So, okay, well, this is some guy reviewing it. This is not the clip, but yeah. So yeah. So that's not the documentary, but that's the guy. He made the documentary called What Is a Woman?
Yes.
So I haven't seen that yet. And
I need to see it too. I need to watch it too.
Yeah.
I
want to watch it just to get more perspective. And like, I also want to learn, you know, a little more about the history of, you know, certain things, because like I said, I think there is validity to, there's sort of a group of people that historically have been bullied and have had certain rights, you know, stripped from them in an unfair way that do really exist. But do I think, but I'm a little lost when we start talking about like born into the wrong body and using, you know, technology technology means like hormone pills and surgeries and things that cause damage, right? And then when you look into like the depression and so like becoming suicidal statistics, a lot of people that go through these irreversible things become suicidal 7 to 10 years after surgery.
Yeah, and that's really deep. Like I can only imagine that. You know what I mean? Like that's deep.
So it's like,
It's deep.
Again, but I do think I want to learn more about like the whole history of it as I learn about the dangers of it, because I don't want to be lost on either extreme.
I understand. I'm like, you want to understand it. Like I'm like, you can't. It's like how can you talk about understanding? But now you actually have, you've done solid research. You've done, the due diligence to actually be like, you know what, I can formulate and say these things because I see both sides. You know what I mean? So, and it's nothing wrong with having an opinion, in society that makes you feel like, having this and that, it's just like, but, and people don't also talking about the detransitioning too, and the depression that goes along with that. Cause I've seen so many stories about that, but that's not publicized really, No,
because what's publicized is what gets the dollar sign. Like I said, there is a big dollar sign in anything that involves big pharma, big surgeries, big medicine, whatever. I don't know if they have a name, but big pharma has a name.
Yes. No, I agree. And it's only attached to them. Like the only reason why they're doing this is because it like I'm like somebody's getting paid. So I agree with you, Soul.
Yeah.
So
and
I agree with you.
Like ADD, ADHD, right? There is plenty of validity that people many people, millions, are born with a brain that functions differently when it comes to attention and passion and importance and impulsiveness. That does not mean that there is like a disease at play, but there was such a huge dollar sign in treating ADD, ADHD with pills. And so what happened is, all of these, and then like, let's just say the DCM is full of things that you can't really measure. You know what I'm saying? You can measure things that are more like schizo or extreme, like the severe, like bipolar and stuff like that. You can measure things and you can sort of see. And if you could pull somebody's brain out their head without damaging them and examine it, a real brain person would be able to tell, okay, boom, okay, this is swollen here. This hasn't grown in so many years here, and that's supposed to be growing. Or you can see certain things, but there's a lot in there that, like I said, it's like divide and conquer. Now I can latch on to having this identity and feel isolated and connect with other people who are here, and they'll make me feel included.
Like, oh my, and that's you make all this sense. People just want to identify with something and talk about it and be like, this is why my life is in shambles. Is because, but in reality, I was watching some stuff because I'm really big on like healing through just different methods, including like psychedelics, cannabis and things like that. And they mentioned that even with people, my great grandmother was diagnosed with schizophrenia, and I can tell you so many stories, of the different things that my grandmother had to go through with her mom, and the experience I've had with her. And it's like watching just documentaries about schizophrenia and stuff, because they say it runs in our family, or whatever. I'm like, honestly, when I was watching, even listening, I love Dr. Joe Dispenza. He talks about like everything. I love him. Like what?
Yeah. No, shout out Dr. Joe Dispenza. He. I mean, first of all, his story with his biking incident.
Yes.
That was impossible, but he did it.
Impossible, but the thing about it is he did it, and I love that he shares that like you can really conquer. You could do anything. Like nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. But yeah, I really like him. And with schizophrenia, even I was saying, my bad. People that have schizophrenia, they actually have more DMT than normal humans. And that's what causes them to be in these hallucinative states and experience different parallel universes. it could be deeper. Like some people are maybe more anointed than others, or it's just so many things. I remember I was diagnosed with like severe ADHD when I was younger. And then my mom was always an advocate for me. She was always just like, my daughter has a lot of energy and that's it. Just because I have a lot of energy doesn't mean you guys have to like try to influence or try to be like, oh, I need to be pilled up. No, I need to be doing extra hobbies. Leave me alone. Like,
yeah. I was diagnosed with ADD without the H.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, attention deficit disorder.
Okay.
That's and there are certain ways of utilizing concentration that for me take a lot of willpower, but I'm not it's different than like a real disorder that impacts, right? I'm not lacking anywhere. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, there's something to be said, but it just like, first of all, how are we even measuring? If I could talk about ADD a little bit, how are we even measuring that? Your ability to sit still without shaking your leg? What the fuck is that?
I don't know. So
we're talking about kids. Like, why are you talking about kids? Their ability to sit still without shaking their leg. What the fuck are you talking about?
This is child. It's a child. Like
how did they diagnose it for you? Somebody watched you for a little bit and said you had it, right?
Yeah, I was being watched. I was being watched. Like, that was before I was like homeschooled and stuff. I was being watched, and I guess they couldn't maintain me because I didn't want to do stuff and have my own mind. So they're like, yeah, she has severe ADHD. What?
No. Well, maybe, but that doesn't. It's not a. No.
No, exactly. No. All I needed to do is just like everybody has different learning styles. Everybody has different ways to go about different things, so somebody's learning style, if I want to just do this while I'm like, or just tap, it's comforting. Or maybe I just want to, like, when I eat, I want to sing a little song. It doesn't mean, I just like eating. So right. I just feel like people just want to identify with something. And it's just like, the more you're diagnosed with, the more people are like, my life's whole because I know I have all this diagnosed things. And I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like everybody wants to blame their life on something, like, but it's in reality. I'm not saying it's not real.
Insecurity on something.
Yeah. And I'm not saying it's not real. I'm just saying that it doesn't have to be labeled that. Like, it doesn't have to define you. It doesn't have to shape who you are.
Right. And it shouldn't define you to you.
Yes.
Even if the world is defining you by that one character flaw, which is not even a flaw, but just to make it simple, even if the world is defining you by this one character flaw, it should not define you to you. And one of the biggest tools, because I want to take the spotlight off of the problems a little bit and go towards solutions. One of the things that is monumental, just cannot be described how useful and practical and great it is, that can put into perspective those who have been told, all their life or a large portion of their life, that even if you're happy, I think you're suffering from this, and this, and you should, be different, is meditation. Meditation. And let me explain exactly what meditation is, because I'm a meditation coach and I've been one for a while now. Meditation is not limited to sitting and using effort to make your brain stop giving you thoughts, to make your mind stop producing images. It's in sounds. It's not limited to. Now that also is included in some forms of meditation, which also are useful and practical. But meditation is more subtle and simple than that. What meditation is one word. It's called awareness. That's it. And when I coach meditation, how I do so is by reminding people the only thing that is important is that you are aware. Doesn't mean you are aware of ... No, you are aware.
You are aware. Okay.
In all caps, no exclamation, no punctuation at all. Just that is what's important. And just stay with that. Just stay with, you're aware. Nobody can deny you're aware. Right? You can't say, I am not aware, because you would have to be aware to say, I am not aware. You'd have to be aware of that. So just your awareness is enough.
Yes.
And just being with that is meditation. When you just take some moments to be in your natural awareness, no effort. You can't concentrate your way into awareness. Before you start talking about awareness, you're already aware. So you have home court advantage. You're already here, and that's enough. So it's just it's like tapping into your most natural self. Right?
I love that.
And the biggest benefit of that is when your awareness is enough, then you're not your body. You're not your mind. You're not your mind's deficiencies. You're not your economic problems. You're not any of your problems. You're not your prettiness and ugliness problems. You're not your lust and or whatever. You're not anything that other people have been and yourself have been defining you as in those moments where you meditate. And the more you do it, the more you take time, right? 10, 15 minutes at the end of the day or at the beginning of the day to just be aware. Even if mind storm, right? Hurricane going on in the mind and just distraction. And I keep stretching and I keep cracking my back and I can't help it. And that makes me think I'm not meditating. Even if all of that is going on, then you still take that time. Notice what that is like. Be aware, and let that be enough.
Be aware. Yep. Be
aware. Don't stop your mind. You can't stop your mind with force because you would have to use your mind to do so. It's like looking through a telescope, trying to see the telescope. You can't turn it any way to see the telescope.
You can't. You're right.
So you can't use your mind to stop your mind. There's a contradiction. You know what I mean? It's counterintuitive. So you just let your awareness be enough and use your 5 minutes, your 15 minutes of meditation to just be aware. And then eventually you'll see that, silence and, sitting, even if you don't like sit cross-legged or whatever, but you sit in silence, that becomes more natural for you. And what do you do? Let me bring it all the way full circle, Vanity. What do? You become obedient like the tree. Nature. That's what meditation does. And then it don't matter. I mean, there can be certain influences, but for the large, in terms of like looking at it in a very simple sense, the tree don't give a damn if I try to define it as something. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, there have been scientific studies that say if you talk nicely to a plant, it'll grow. And if you talk mean to it, it might die. Or okay, whatever. But that aside, and like that kind of stuff, you look at a tree that's already here.
Yeah.
And you say, well, your bark isn't as brown as the tree next to you. Or you still gonna get your apples when it's apples time. You still gonna get your leaves when it's the fall, and you still gonna get rebirth when it's spring. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And that obedience makes you stronger without effort. It's like an effortless getting stronger. It's like an effortless progression to being stronger because you're not getting stronger in the sense of just your person. You're getting stronger with that soul that we talked about. When we talk about the movie, your soul is getting stronger. I don't even know how I got here, but just being more. Meditation is a solution for a lot of things. I don't mean solution in terms of like you have problems and here's your cure, because again, that's the self-judgment talk. That's almost oppressive, but accidentally. And so I just mean, what I mean by solution is just, let's acknowledge that there is a lot of chaos. And so if more peace and more order and more intelligence is the goal, and more like coming together with your brethren is the goal, then meditation is a solution in that sense.
Meditation is a solution. I love it. I love it. I love that.
Your awareness is enough. Write that on a sticky note. Put it on the computer.
Awareness is enough. That's so true. Your awareness is enough. That's so true.
You know what I mean? What is love to you?
Just love. It's so many words. Like you can say the word love, but honestly, it's so many other words that can be substituted for that. Love has so many definitions. It's definitely a verb. It's definitely love. It just is. It just is. And I'm a movie head. I love watching a lot of movies. I love watching humans, right? And it's like we spend so much of our life, right? All this seeking, searching, all this developing, all this, obtaining. I got to do this. I got to do that. And it's just like all that human just wants love. They just want to be accepted. Like you mentioned earlier, that acceptance, and I'm like, wow. Like, when it comes, love is so, it's like one of those things like where love has different definitions based on who's asking. It has different moods. Love has different moods to it,
I gotta say, you definitely sound like a Scorpio right now,
I do. Okay. But yeah, that's what love means to me.
When you said it depends on who's asking, I was like, that's also Scorpio shit, but all right.
I mean, it's true. It's definitely true.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Did you have more? I didn't want to interrupt. That was fun.
No, you're fine. I mean, it's just, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so much.
Well, thank you. Thank you for coming on the show. We got to do this again. You know what I'm saying?
No, I'm grateful.
I love your company.
Mm-hmm.
Both your community advocacy business and your company.
Thank you.
Trying to think, because like what I plan to do.
Okay.
Is bring people together and like have more than one guest at a time.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I'm going through my mental Rolodex of the people I've already interviewed. Like, okay, who can I bring Vanity on with?
Oh, okay. To make it like, okay. I love that.
The only thing is, man, it's everybody's schedule is so.
Oh, okay. Well, evenings work best for me. So like stuff in the evenings around this time, like I can definitely switch some stuff out, but yeah, the evening times definitely work for me.
Wonderful. How did you enjoy your Expression of Love podcast experience?
To be honest, it's like, I feel like I needed this. Like, I feel like today's been very interesting with like how I was feeling. And I just spent time just staring at trees prior to being on here. I was like, I don't want to do this. I just closed my laptop and I was just staring at trees. So like, I was just thinking about a lot of things. And sometimes it just floods me with, I just have so much emotion, so I was really just processing things. And I was like, oh, I had this podcast today. I was telling my sister, I was like, I had this podcast today. I have to go back home. I got to get my laptop ready. So honestly, I feel refreshed, and I'm grateful that you poured into me and you just allowed me just to just to have a voice, so thank you.
Nah, yeah. Well, that's awesome. That's like super great.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also really cool that you say you're staring at trees and we talk about like
No,
being obedient like the tree, like
that's why I said it's
right.
so like
It's like lined up, like
oh,
yeah.
it was definitely lined up because I was really just like staring, and then I was reading the book Milk and Honey, and that always makes me so emotional. Like, and I'm like, Vanity, today's just been an emotional day for you. Like, that's okay. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Mm,
that's great. I definitely enjoyed this episode a whole lot.
me
Um,
too.
where can people connect with you at?
Oh yes. So you can follow me on Instagram and also Facebook at the Vanity Constance. You can email me at info@vanitycreates.com. If you want to find out more about the artists that I manage, and if you need some murals or need a logo or need a website design, you can reach us at www.michaelcrown.com. And I also have a separate email for that, but you can just go on the website to look for that. But besides that, definitely just hit me up, I guess, via email, Instagram, and yeah, I'm just rebranding right now. So those are the two things I'll share. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thanks for
Mhm.
coming on the show.
Yeah.